Are we all good to go to this session? Okay, so basically today's session would be more of just like I said yesterday. So yeah, we are going to try some. We're going to do some practical stuffs. Perhaps set up an Ethereum node um, live, and then let's basically see how it works and how we can do these things from our end. So just give me a few seconds. Let me pull up my screen, and I would also switch the system because the one I'm using now to join this call would not be the one I'll be using to set up the node. So today we are going to set up a node, and we'll be setting up the Geth and Prysm clients for this particular node. So for the execution client, we'll be using Geth, while for the consensus client, we'll be using Prysm. So just to touch through the architecture once more. Um, so this is more like the setup, how it looks. There's the execution client, consensus client, and these two interact together to form a node. Then if you now have the validator client layer on it, then you have your validator node. And the big beacon node basically is still consensus clients layer. So and the execution client interacts with the consensus client through the engine API, while the consensus client interacts with the validators client through the beacon API. So we are going to set up. We'll be using it Pilar's documentation. It's more comprehensive. There are like different ways we can do this, but I find the It's Pilar's documentation comprehensive for the manual setup as well. So we are going to utilize that. So the basic idea is one, you need to have like the server or the desktop that you want to install the application. So and we'll be using Ubuntu. So once you have that, you can update your packages and stuff like that, install other dependencies, and so once you basically updating your node and then installing some packages that would make the work easier. And then there is this JWT secret file that we need to create. So basically this just helps to ensure that the communication between the execution client and the consensus clients are authenticated. So you generate the hexadecimal string that will be stored in this folder that will create. So that's basically how you kind of encrypt the communication. So so the steps to set it up. So just like I said, there are different ways you can do this, but me, I find this approach more professional, or it's more like a better way to manage your setup. So that way it helps you to like create a system user and directory. So it's more like you're saying, okay, this you need to create a particular user that will then have access to all the files, the directory, the execution, and other important directories in your node folder. So just like having someone who is in charge, who has permission to execute file or delete file or extract binary and stuff like that. So you we are going to use that approach to create a system user for that, and also a directory that will do all of those things. Then we need to download and install the binary. And there's also the official link from the documentation. You will understand better on how to set it up. So this is more like an overview. So basically, this is the official documentation page. Then after downloading and installing the binary, then can then do some configuration. So you more into this anyway, but the idea is that you create a system service file that will then help to um, start your node, and it also has other configurations as well. Then for the consensus layer, would still set it up, create a service user for it, the binary, install it, do other configurations, and then we'll still monitor our logs, like monitor the node through the logs. So yeah, basically following these steps, you're now able to set up your node, and I'm going to do that now. So this is the so okay, I'm also going to share this link. Also, feel free to, if you have any question or you need clarification on anything, you can also call my attention to it. Okay, so each file basically has like two. From the documentation, they're like, okay, maybe not each file, coin cashew documentation, right? So there's this it filer, which is more like a terminal user interface that helps to like set your that helps you to set up your node, and it tends to abstract a lot of things. But the approach we'll be using is the manual process for this setup. So and just come to this place. Okay, so basically we will first of all update. So let's assume you have Ubuntu installed, but just in case you don't have, I think there is also a part where they talked about how you can set it up. So let me see if I can get the link and also share.
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, from the what I'm seeing here, so it means that we can basically run this thing on our BPS or DPS.
Sorry, on what?
On our VPS.
Okay,
VPS
yeah, you can.
Okay. Then when you're running it on your local machine, it means that you know that your local machine will have constant
Yeah,
energy and internet source.
yeah, yes. So I'm going to open my terminal. So I just dropped a link on um so for if you want to set up Ubuntu on your device, the link I dropped last is the one that will help you, like aid you on how to do that. So but from this documentation now, how to update our node, and Okay, so I'm going to open my terminal. So hope you can see my terminal now.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Right. So okay. So now I'm going to. So basically, I think the easiest way is just to go to that documentation, copy the command, then you paste. It's going to run all the process for you, but I'm going to remove some things here. Um, because I'm just trying to like save some time. But ideally, once you update, you also restart your your device. So the only thing I just did now, because if I reboot now, it's going to turn on the system and restart. So I only ran this command. So um I have although yeah I have some of these installed already. So I'll just go to the documentation. Most of like everything I'll be doing, I'm copying it directly from the documentation. And if there's any part that needs modification, I'll also tell you. So so now I want to create a folder where I'll store the JWT secret file. So from the documentation, that's where I copied this file, this command. So I'm just going to paste it like that, and then it generated this stuff for me. So um that's basically hexadecimal string. And then the next thing I'll need to do is you can also like configure your you can also like open your ports. I mean, if you want to regulate how traffic comes in and goes out of your device or your network, you can control that as well. But that's if you want to like configure um your ports. So but basically the approach I'm using is I installed these packages, and then I generated this hexadecimal string. So now what I'm going to do next is to install my execution client. And from the documentation, I'll just go to the part where they talked about how to install Geth. So I just went to the documentation, I copied the link. I'm going to paste it on the group first. So you can also follow through. So I'll copy the command that will help me to create the service account. So sorry, let me just use another terminal. Another tab. I just want it to look clean. So it's just the command basically, and then I enter my password. So once this is done, the next thing is to install the binary, and I'm just copying the command from the documentation. I'll paste it. So it will get the latest release and download the assets from there. Then
Excuse me.
okay, yeah, I can
The
hear.
document, the document that you are using, is it in this same system, right?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
The document you are using, is it in this same system, in this PC that you are using to show us?
Yeah, I'm sharing the link, the documentation, the link. is anybody can
Okay.
access it. So I usually drop the link.
Mm,
So yeah, but basically all of this command you get it from the link I am dropping. So now I just copied the part where they said install. That's the step two, install binaries. So I just so there's another command below. So well, copy it and still paste. So I'm going to create the system file. So I'm just copying everything and pasting directly. Then okay. So I've started Geth, so I'll need to like check the log. Let me open another tab. Okay, hope you can still see my terminal.
Yes, sir. We can see your terminal.
Okay. So I'm having this issue because the binary did not like install properly, and I'm trying to do the process again. I'm gonna override this directory I can see. Okay, so maybe I'll just delete it and do it again. For the permission, leave this guy. Okay. Okay. I think yeah, I'm able to resolve that. So I'm going to yeah. So our log now with. Hope you can still see my screen. Hello guys. Can you all still see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you can see the log, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the error we've resolved the error. So now the get client is looking for peers. So it will try to like connect to nodes, other nodes in the network, and ideally there is so basically a lot of blockchains usually have boot nodes. They are more like it's not like it's not like it's not the normal nodes. So it's more like it's a node that is hard coded into the blockchain that is just relevant for peer discovery. So those nodes will just their function is just to help any new node that is coming into the network to find peers, that's other nodes in the network. So sometimes when you hear of boot nodes, it's it's not like the normal nodes you get. So they are just there for discovery. Like that's the primary function, their primary function. So I'm going to, so we now have Geth running. I would need to do that for Prysm. So I'll go to the documentation, the parts where they talked about installing Prysm consensus client. I'll also drop the link. Okay. So yeah, the initial configuration, I'll copy the code as it is, go to my terminal, paste it, hit enter, enter my password. Also go to, so we've done this. Okay, from the documentation you see install dependencies. We've done that initially, but just to, so I could just, sorry, just do it again. Because I'm just following the documentation, but that's by the way. Then the next part is install the binary. Copy the code, paste it, hit enter. It will download it. Then copy the next code for the installation. So once this downloads, then we'll move it to, okay, just to while this is still downloading, I just want to like explain some of these things. So the idea of, I think this one will be better. So from the official documentation, the so I'll share the link to the releases. This one is for Geth. So from there you just find the, so what those commands are doing is they just go to the asset section and download the files there, the latest version. So this one is for Prysm. Okay. So yeah, this has downloaded. From the documentation, I'll just copy the next command there and paste it. Then the next is set up and configure system differ. So copy this command as well. Copy the systemd configuration. So if you want to stake, so ideally you need to replace this with your address. You need to use your Ethereum address here. So, but if you're not staking, you can just take this part off. Like if you don't want to run a validator layer attached, you can just take this entire part off completely. That's if you don't have 32 ETH to stake and you don't want to like run validator on the validator client layer. Just remove that part and save. Ctrl X, Y, enter. Then you reload. Copy the following command. Hit enter. Then you can now view your log. So, or did I just stop it? Let me see. Okay, so all of these commands are in the documentation. If you want to, you see some parts where, let me share the link as well. So from there, you see some commands that you need if you want to restart. If you want to start your node or the client, you see there. If you want to stop it, if you need command to view log, you see there. To view the status, you see there. If you also need command to reset database, you also find it there. So yeah, this is our consensus client, and it's running. And then where's the execution client? Yeah. So this guy is still looking for pairs. So you see pair count to number of trials and stuff like that. So basically we now have like a node. Like this is we now have our node like running. So if you have any question, you can ask. If you need more clarification on anything, you can also ask. And if you want to run the validator, validator plans, you also need to like follow a couple of steps. So I'm going to share the link as well. The link from the documentation, steps that you can follow. So basically, so because this approach is more like an approach that solo stakers usually take. So you need your 32 ETH. So and then once you have your 32 ETH to stake, you then need to generate your validator key. All of these steps are well documented in this CoinCashew documentation. So there are different ways for you to create your validator key. Okay, let me share the documentation. Let me share that particular part of the screen so that it's easier to grasp.
Is there any incentive in the network for running all these testnet validators?
Incentive, like you mean from the protocol or from like if you run
from the general ecosystem?
I can't really say if maybe there is a particular ecosystem that rewards people for running the testnet version of their node, but I think there should be
Okay. Doing it is out of the goodness of your heart.
But also, if you want to learn before going live on mainnet, you can run testnet first for the knowledge, and you earn testnet rewards. Like your rewards will also be in testnet testnet token. So, but everything is testnet defined. Well, except maybe there is an ecosystem that says, okay, come and run our node or run our validator node, will reward you. Maybe they are trying to test it or something. So you participate, then they will incentivize you for participating and also providing feedback. But other than that, if you're running a testnet version, you're getting testnet tokens as reward as well. Just the same way it will be on mainnet. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so for the So if you want to set up your, so all the commands that have been copying and pasting, they're all written from this part. So step 5 is now if you want to run your validator client layer, then you click on that link, go to the setup part. So here now you need your 32 if. You can get, okay. So yeah, once you need to obtain the testnet token. That's the first set, and there are places where you can get it. So all the information you need is on this documentation, right? So then you generate the validator key, and there are steps or approaches for you to do that. You can use this staking deposit CLI. So once you click on it, just copy everything. Is as easy as like the way these scripts are written. They are choose variable to like get the most important thing, and just paste, and you have you have it running as you want. So paste this, run the command, then it will you generate your mnemonics. So once you have it, you run this command. You also provide your address, withdrawal's address. Yeah, replace this with your withdrawal address and paste this command. Basically, if you're, because this is holistic, that's the network on holistic testnet. So this will be holistic. So if you're running other networks, you also need to like make sure that the commands are in line. So once you do this, it will then create it. So you need to like follow all of these processes. You see them, select language, you choose your language, confirm your address, and the likes. So once you're able to do that, you would see this icon or this image or this thing. You see it. Then you also see the number of validators you're running. So all of these things, you you see them on your terminal. Then you, yeah, run all of these steps. And sorry, my screen is flickering, and it tends to like make my work slow. So yeah, then you transfer the validator key to your node when you run this command. And so there are ways you can do that through file transfer. So some people that are running on their servers, there's a way you can just copy it, move it down. So you just copy so you transfer the key files to your node from your local computer, and these are like the options you can use to you can follow to do that. And then you go to the launch pad. So the launch pad is now where you make your deposits, where the money, the token, the faucet, the ETH that you have, where it will then be debited or subtracted from your wallet into. The idea is just you depositing staking it, right? So yeah, but you need to upload your deposit data, and that's So when you generate your validator key, you see all of this, the keys, the key store file also. From that image, yeah, from here you see your deposit data file, your key store files. You see all of them there. So basically, that's just it. Then from the launch pad, follow the prompts and all the things they want you to do. It's very easy. It's very easy. Just follow the direction and you're able to like set it up. So that's pretty much um, all you need to know about setting up your validator node on your node rather on Ethereum. So it's still the same approach for different clients. So we have the other clients too. So but specifically like I went for Geth and Prysm. So if you have any question or any clarification on anything, you can ask. And I hope I did not um, I wasn't too fast, and I hope I was able to carry it more.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Second set. I've forgotten if it was you or the other instructor. He showed us his hardware, the one he uses for setting up his node. And he said that he coupled or assembled everything all by himself. So I don't know if you have an idea of the cost or what it would take to put something like that together.
Okay. Awesome. Is it something you want to do? Like, is it something you want to do?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, you can reach out to David on Telegram. He'll give you more details on that.
Okay, Harrison.
Yeah.
Okay, so similar to this question that you asked, so I want to get something from the hardware, the hardware that was coupled or that is to be coupled. Are they pre-configured that it is now a plug and play, or when you use them, they will now be in form of your CPU. You connect them to any form of GUI, and then use it to run your CLI. So I want to get the difference between this hardware and then this software kind of ways to do it.
Okay. So the custom hardware is more like it's not really a plug and play. It's not a plug and play because it's not. It doesn't have. It's not like that node that has pre-configured softwares already. So um, for this hardware, it's a hardware that meets the hardware requirements. Okay, it's a device or it's a computer, it's a machine that meets the hardware requirements for running a node. So it means that the storage
Okay, so
capacity.
that means that basically that device is just like your CPU, your CPU trying to meet up to the requirement of the hardware requirement of that for you to run the nodes, right?
Yes,
Okay, no problem. But the GitHub nodes, they are plug and play.
yeah. So you only need to do very little network configuration and you have it running.
Okay, then the other one that is normally custom made by you guys. Okay, you will still connect it to a monitor for you to do all these things, right? And then through the monitor, you monitor whatever that is happening to it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
So is there any other question? or any other contribution.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Even
Yeah. So my question is, can you run like multiple clients on one day?
okay, like different clients. Let's say,
Yes.
okay. So I think the question the okay. So if I am to like answer, I'll be like, why do I want to like run multiple clients? Is it that I want to run different validators on a single machine, or like what's the goal? So for me, if the idea is that you want to run multiple validators, let's say you want to be earning rewards, but you don't want the reward to just be coming from one validator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're running different clients. You can still run um multiple validators. Like you can run more than one validator on a pair client architecture. So it's like normally you need 32 to run one validator. So you can stake 64 and run two validator using the same the same clients.
Okay.
Yeah. So what you just need to do is to generate. So if you want to, during the process where you be asked to generate, when you want to generate your validator key, you will ask you how many validators you want to run it for. So if it's any number you put, that it will now generate the validator key for, depending on the number of validators you're running. So that's the key now that you can now use to access your validator.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I still want to ask a question. I still want to ask a question. Maybe this is just conceptual. It may not be exactly what we are dealing with, but I just want to grasp the idea behind it at this moment that it's came into my mind. So if we are to run, if we have like 1,000 persons now that we come up with 32 each to run this validator, it means that Ethereum validators will be increased by 1,000 persons, or are there regulations to?
No, so it's just one validator. So when I say, if I say validator, I'm actually referring to like the thing that would actually do the block proposal, the validation, the transaction attestation, and so it's just like it's just one validator that does these things. So even if you're running a DVT, is still one validator that will participate in this governance, like in the consensus. But other validators are there. They are there to avoid issues where when one validator goes down, the entire network goes down. So even if one validator goes down, in as much as it is still within the threshold, the validator will still be online. If any request comes to that validator, there's still it will still get a response that yeah, the validator is active. But in terms of block proposal attestation, is just one validator that will participate in this. So if you're getting reward, you're only getting the reward for just that one validator that is participating. So even if all of you decide, maybe 10,000 people decide to come up with 32 hits, you're only registering one validator because you're only staking 32 hits. If you want to run two validators, you need to like double the stake, and that's when you now have like the reward for the two validators that you are running. But you can't run um a single validator on different machines. Let's say I have one validator now and I'm running it in two different machines. If the network discovers, I'll be slashed. So that's where slashing and penalties, stuff like that comes into this. So I hope that answers the question. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So, is there any other question? I think okay, maybe we still have like 4 minutes to go. So, is there any other question? Any other contribution? So, in our next session, we'll look into DVT and staking. So, yeah, basically that would be okay. So, in the absence of no further questions, I think we've come to the end of this session. Looking forward to the next session. So, guys, thanks for. And if you have any question, you can also reach out to me. So the guy that asked for the Telegram, I dropped the Telegram link on the chat. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, are you also in the Telegram chat so that I can reach out to you because there are some questions that I would like to ask you.
Yes, on the Telegram.
So, okay, what is the handle on Telegram?
Harry Styles.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sir David, are you on the call?
Okay, since we are still here, I want to ask this question. In this validation of 18, providing decentralization to the whole network with 32 ETH. So let's assume that we now have 1,000 persons around the world pop up with 32 ETH that they want to stake. Does that mean that we are going to have another 1,000 Ethereum validators, or there is a cap to the validation number?
I think. Okay, so the cap, is it like in terms of the number of nodes that can participate in the network?
Yeah, cap to it.
It's on the okay. So yeah, I feel like the idea is beside is if everybody in the world can be running their own node, I think that's where the true decentralization comes in, because it means you are your machine, you are your blockchain, you are the blockchain. So it's more like you you have like the power to your own transaction. So in terms of the number of nodes that can participate in the network, there's no limitation.
Okay, because I've seen some of the, I've not done my research on the Ethereum part, but I've seen some of all these blockchain that there will be like 200 validators needed, as in they are capped at some certain number, maybe 200, 300, 150. Some started with 10, 15. So I just want to
Yeah,
get much of how it looks in Ethereum.
yeah. So yeah, I agree with this because well, I think I know some blockchains now. They say they want to like expand their validator uh, sets. So there are some validator there are some blockchains that they tend to like control how people like come how validation. It's not like they are controlling the process of validating or validation in the ecosystem, but they are controlling the they are capping the number of node or validator nodes in the network, in the sense that if maybe they just don't want too much to be in the network, right? So they cap it. But most of these things they are for blockchains that are um, all of these things are open source, right? Maybe not all, but yeah, they tend to like preach that it's permissionless, anybody can participate and stuff like that. So there are some, yeah, that will give you that liberty and say anybody can run, while some they'll tell you that you from their rule they just say they just need certain number of node that should be active. So if one now goes down, then that's when they can now come in as maybe new validator node in the ecosystem.
Okay, no problem. That means that it is still centralized decentralization because maybe they want to have control over the numbers, just and then to make sure that uh, then they want to improve scalability at the expense of decentralization. Then I want to chip another question because I believe we are in open question time, so I'm just asking brainstorming questions also. Then if like in Ethereum, we have a base staking amount of 32, and then people, if you are validated, then you stake 32, and then people can stake on your validator, right, to increase your numbers. Right, I'm right in that essence, right?
Sorry, like people can add to. So I didn't really
To
get
what
that
you
part.
stake. Okay, like the base is 32 ETH, right? And then you stake now you're a validator. So people can select you as a validator and stake on you as in and add theirs to your pool, right? Or is it
Okay,
different?
so for Ethereum, except maybe you're doing it, you're joining through maybe a protocol. But Ethereum, like vanilla, if you are just staking, you're like staking to the network directly. It's not like other people can now stake on your own validator. No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just your own validator that is taken to the network. Other people cannot pick on your own validator. So, but
Okay, so that's okay, okay, okay. That was where the problem of if you don't have 32 ETH, then you have a problem of not participating.
the thing is, you then look for other protocols that are making it easier for other people to stake.
So
So
in these protocols, people are pulling funds together to to stake.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. Now let's assume that we have like one protocol. This one protocol we now have to pull people together to get 32. So when they get to 32, we then now create another protocol, now create another batch of their own protocol. But I want to understand how this thing works in vanilla and
yeah.
everything.
Something like that. So it could be that maybe, okay, let's say if I'm a protocol now, like let's say I have more than 32 ETH. Let's say I have up to 1 billion ETH. I can decide to stake all of those ETH to based on the number of nodes, the maximum effective balance to run the validator. So I can do all of those things. So if it I can do all of those things, and then I will now set up my own rule and say, you, if you have like 2 ETH, you can come give me the 2 ETH. Me, I'll be running the validator for you. Any reward that comes based on the amount you gave me, I will not be giving you certain commission or certain incentive or certain reward based on the amount you put. But what you're putting is more like you're putting it to come into the network, but it is my real complete funds that is actually doing the thing, right? But you now, you're not coming as somebody who just wants to, you don't have the complete money. So I'll be doing it for you, but I'll be doing it for you. I'll be earning the complete reward, but I'll be giving you something because you deposited something, you stake. But you're not doing it directly.
Okay, no problem. I believe I will do my homework on that because I want to get maybe how it works on vanilla and all this everything because in these other tools where we have validators there that normal users will now go and stake on, and then the percentage of what they stake are not the same in terms of some will have higher amounts and some will not have the same amount to compare to what others have, and then also maybe look on the reward system and how they are distributed and how it affects the network. So that's the end of my question. Thank you for throwing some light.
All right, yeah, you're welcome. So I think that's the end of the session. So looking forward to our next session.